You're on.
We live? We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to election night in LA. I know it's all over the world. People are tuning into this election, and we're getting very festive here tonight. So we got balloons, we got red cups and blue cups, fine cups on both sides. We don't know who's going to win yet. We thought we'd have a winner by now. We were being very optimistic, but we're off to an early
I think Florida man screwed us.
So we'll jump right into it. I think here are a couple things I want to talk about. Drama's joining us right now, but one interesting thing that I would like to say, everyone voted early this time. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people voted early, and all of the scare that people had on voter suppression, or people are not going to be able to get a vote. I have not heard one negative thing about the actual voting process today. Have you heard anything?
I haven't, and I think that's just a testament to people being just getting ahead of it. So that was such a big concern for, frankly, the last 4 years, because there were so many issues in 2016 that enough people got ahead of it, and 2020 seems to be off to a more seamless start. I voted absentee. You voted in person. I think you said the technology was good.
Yeah, I voted. I went on lavote.net, filled out my ballot, my registration. I scanned something on the computers there. Took me 2 minutes. It was easy. And everyone in California said the voting process was very easy. Other states clearly are having lines. I'm seeing lines on CNN right now in Maryland and different in Georgia and different states. But what I am noticing is that this is very similar to, and I had a phone call with someone today, very influential in politics, and he was saying this feels like Y2K. Everyone was so concerned about like the world's going to fall apart. The world's going to fall apart.
Right. And
it didn't. So I think that is the first good sign of this election, that things are going smoothly. Let's get into some of the facts of what's happening right now.
Yep.
First up, Florida.
Yep.
What the hell is happening in Florida?
So this is just 2020, right? Things just don't make sense. So if you look at Florida and some of the early voting across other states, minorities are switching to Trump.
Yeah.
Hispanics largely. And that's not Florida, where you say the Cubans and Venezuelans that were escaping from socialist left oppressive regimes. It's actually across other states. So minorities are closing for Trump, and whites are closing for Biden.
Thank you to the whites. We have a lot of gratitude toward whites. Sometimes we give whites a hard time on this show, but I think if we're going to win this, I always believe the only way Biden was going to win is it was for the whites. And I'm noticing, so Miami-Dade County in Florida, which is the most important county in Florida. It's
for Biden.
For Biden.
Yeah.
Hillary won it by like a massive amount, like double the votes.
She won with 64% of Miami-Dade County, and Biden's barely above 53.
Okay,
so that's a 10-point swing.
And so Miami-Dade is predominantly Cuban. If it's Latino, it leans Cuban, and there's a lot of black people. There are a lot of low-income and high-income white people. It's interesting that like that socialist message scared those people so much that it actually created a lot of energy and excitement in for Trump in Florida. I did not think that vote was so powerful in Miami-Dade.
I think what the Trump campaign, and I think they focused the last 4 years specifically with the Hispanic vote in Florida, is that the messaging that Biden was going to be taken over by the radical left and going to turn the U.S. into socialism. And if you look at the countries like Cuba and Venezuela, that people have fled oppressive regimes. I keep saying that.
Yeah.
And he's messaged effectively that the U.S. will turn into that if Biden wins. And they all flipped. And then college-educated white voters and suburban women are flipping to Biden.
So Karens have come out strong for Biden. Karens are going to carry this.
I wouldn't say all suburban women are Karens. Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. But I think Karens are coming. I saw a chart of Florida. So St. Petersburg, Florida, Tampa, Florida, which are suburban white neighborhoods.
Yep.
That Biden's going to win those counties. And wherever there's obviously the rural areas, Biden has no shot. That's where Trump's going to win. Miami, Biden is struggling. So I would say Florida is the first disappointment of the night for the Democrats and Biden.
Yeah, but I will also say, I mean,
I wanted to win Florida.
Yeah, because the night's over. If Florida had flipped to Biden, there was no pathway for Trump to win the Electoral College. So if you wanted the first round knockout, we didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I see people saying this is a liberal pod. I would say we're a centrist pod, but we all voted for Biden.
Yes.
But for the purposes of the election, I think what is interesting to note is that the rest of the states that are reporting right now don't look like Florida, because Florida had this massive Hispanic surge. They look more like the college-educated whites and suburban women have come out, and we're seeing that in Ohio, we're seeing that in North Carolina, we're seeing that in Pennsylvania. It's still early. There's a lot to be counted. You can't bank any of these states, but
I'm very disappointed.
I hear you, but
Florida always disappoints me.
I think Trump also had an edge in Florida because the state's open.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it in our own friend group.
That's true.
People are really pissed off that California is closed and Florida's wide open. There's no curfew in Miami. Miami-Dade County. How many people do you think flipped with no curfew in Miami? Young people.
Yeah, that's true.
They're like, if Biden wins, my clubs, my restaurants are closed. Yeah. Workers. So I think that actually, I mean, the coronavirus actually helped him in Florida.
Yes.
It's how I see it.
You know what's interesting? St. Petersburg and Tampa are where a lot of elderly people live.
Yeah.
Because of old age communities, and it went blue. So the older people that we thought would vote for Trump actually went for Biden because that is the same choice considering the virus.
If Biden wins the election, it's because of seniors and white people.
Yeah.
The minorities that fled Biden, they're all Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it's interesting to see the Black and Latino vote has increased for Trump. Of all the Republican people in the past, that's the candidate that's gotten people excited.
Yeah, no.
It's very, very interesting to see. Here's the thing. There are some positive signs. The big sign is North Carolina still is Biden leading with a majority of the votes in. So North Carolina is a really, really good sign. He has 51% of the vote. Trump has 48% of the vote. So North Carolina is like a must-win state for both of them.
So yes and no. So this is basically how Trump wins. He sweeps Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and Arizona, Georgia, Texas can't flip for Biden.
Yeah.
So if we see Arizona, Texas, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump is the next president, or he's the returning president.
Yeah.
But if Arizona flips, Georgia doesn't look like it's flipping.
Yeah.
North Carolina is tight, but if you look at the suburban counties, North Carolina, Biden is turning out better than Obama and Clinton.
So that's a good sign. And the other interesting thing is, I was devastated to see that Indiana went to Trump. I couldn't believe it. I had hope that,
the Hoosiers,
the Hoosier community would really come out for Biden, but we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be it's a long night. If Florida had gone to Biden, this would have been a much shorter podcast. I could be home by 8:00. I'd be in bed.
Yeah, we might be here till midnight.
So now we have Ohio is leaning towards Biden. North Carolina is now leaning towards Biden. Pennsylvania is way too early, but still leaning toward Biden. So there are some positive signs. Now we just have to wait and see how the next couple hours go and see what happens. I mean, there's a big update coming again at 7 p.m. with more polls closing, specifically in the Midwest. So we'll have to wait and see. We have some special guests actually coming today, so we don't want to miss that. I don't know where drama is, frankly.
I mean, Mr. Pfaff looks ready to go.
So, you know what, Mr. Pfaff, if you're ready, we have Drama's dad here, fresh from a battleground state, who's going to come on. Battleground state. We will not curse, Mr. Pfaff. We will keep it clean. We will not use any of the language that you find inappropriate. So if he's available to come on, we'd like to bring him on a little bit earlier. But Drama's dad is going to be someone that I've been dying to have on the podcast because I think he is very thoughtful in his answers when he's talking about things he disagrees with us on, which
There he is.
Oh, he must be listening.
Oh, there,
Ask for a 5-minute heads up. And
Okay.
look at him now.
there he is,
We
Mr.
see
Pfaff.
Mr. Pfaff.
Here, we just have to bring him in real quick.
We're gonna bring Mr. Pfaff in before we are gonna bring Drama in. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. How about yourself?
I think he's on mute.
Can you hear me?
You turn his mic.
We'll
my
get
mic
his
is
mic
on.
on. I think
It is on.
Can you unmute him?
He might be muted. You might be muting yourself, Mr. Pfaff. So if you go down to the left-hand corner, it should be a mic button down there.
Dude, we have almost 500 people here. We
Now
really
it says unmuted.
Twitch game here. This is great.
Almost 500 people. Wow.
I think Pete is
can hear him.
censoring people. Oh, they can hear him. We just can't hear him. Okay.
Pete China.
Whoa.
No one said Pete was smart with this technology and equipment.
It shows me as live, microphone wise.
So I want to point out, can you hear us?
They can hear him.
They can hear him. Got it. So we're
I can
still
hear you
waiting on
guys.
hearing you, Mr. Pfaff. We have some internal technical difficulties. I guess the stream can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll chime you in shortly.
Okay. Good.
So the way the night's going to work is every time polls close, there are projections given by the network. So CNN will give projection. Fox News has already declared Donald Trump the winner. So they already
In
feel
the Electoral College?
it's over.
It's over?
Yeah, they already
He won 2024 too, right?
Yes, we won the next 3
We
years.
rewrote the Constitution for him.
So CNN is doing an incredible job. So we're following along on CNN at home. We are drinking tequila. Anand's drinking vodka. Pete's drinking Costa Brava, and Tim is drinking some IPA. So I hope you guys are all joining us with a drink at home, because it's going to be tense. It's interesting to see how many people have so much anxiety about the election. And I'll tell you why that's a good thing. That means you actually care.
Yep.
And that's the beautiful thing about this election versus previous elections. I'm excited. The fact that voting is cool, the fact that people are engaged and paying attention is cool. That is such a good step for the country. Regardless of who you voted for, the fact that you're engaged and you're excited about policy and how this country is going and you have an opinion, that will eventually all put us in a better place. Today, we might all hate each other, though. If you didn't vote for the person that you want to win, then you might have problems. But today, just enjoy the fact that we're all together. Mr. Pfaff, are you here?
I'm on if you can hear me.
Yeah,
Yes,
we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Extremely loud.
Yeah,
I had my headset plugged in, so maybe that was creating some problems, but my mic was not muted.
No, we're just. I don't have a crack team here. This isn't.
Nor do I.
So you beat your son to the entrance. Oh, Baracko Drama has entered the stream too.
Well, look who we have here.
How about
Yeah.
that?
So Drama, welcome to the stream. I don't know where you were.
This is great. It looks like my dad is a little bit more,
Technically savvy?
yeah. I had some problems with my camera working, but we're all set.
Well, it's good to see all of you.
Good
Yeah.
to see you. Thanks for
Hey,
joining us.
speaking of dad, how did we lock down Ohio yet, or how are we looking?
It's still up in the air.
How are you? I don't want to ask who you voted for. That's your private information. What do you think will happen in Ohio based on the conversations you have with people in the neighborhood?
Well, everything's pretty regional. I mean, what's happening in Akron doesn't necessarily is what's happening in Columbus or Cincinnati, but there's a boatload of Trump signs around here is all I can tell you.
And so what's their reasoning for voting for Trump? Because that's always, people always tell me I live in a bubble and I have no idea what the rest of the country is going through. And I actually think, being someone that is an entrepreneur that does well, I think Trump is great for me. It's great for my taxes, it's great for my personal life, but I don't think it's best for the country. What's the perception of people in your neighborhood? Like, why do they want to vote for Trump? I'm curious.
Well, I think originally it was when he won the first time around, they were just tired of politics and they wanted someone who wasn't a politician to be in charge. He proved himself the last 4 years. He certainly is not a politician. But a lot of people are voting for policy and not the person. And that's kind of real hard to separate the two. He embarrasses me as a president. That doesn't necessarily mean I disagree with all of his policies. And I think that's what a lot of people feel better about. There's the people want to keep their guns. They're really worried that, that may not happen if Trump's not president. There's the different religious inputs, and they really might not worry, things are going to be there or lost there if he's not president. So everybody comes from a different angle. Like you said, you guys are in the California setting, and we're all in our little bubbles, so to speak. And we probably don't have a good grip here on what's happening in California. And I don't think maybe in California, you guys have a good grip what's happening in the Midwest, so to speak.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And, I saw a stat from 2016 that Donald Trump won 13 of the top 100 counties in America in terms of GDP and won the presidency. So if you count the counties of Donald Trump's victories, he represents 30% of America's GDP and is the president of the United States. And if you think about how we're watching votes come in, it's counties that, frankly, most of the country's never heard, and to kind of put it bluntly, aren't contributing to America's economic growth, but they're determining policy for the next 4 years. And I think that's very fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in your neck of the woods, like, put the guns aside and even put the religion aside, from an economic standpoint, what do you think they feel like he can do that a Democratic president can't do?
I'm not really sure I know the answer to that. I think they just feel he's right or wrong more for the businessman, the person that's trying to survive, and the individual worker as well, and less about politics. I kind of think there's this vibe that there's separation between politics and people. And politicians are looking out for their best interests, their supporters, their donators, people who made donations, what have you. And if there's anything left over for the people, then they'll get a little bit of that. And I kind of think maybe some of these people think that Trump doesn't necessarily think that way. I'm not saying he does or doesn't, but I just think that might be part of the perception.
And do you think, like, you mentioned that, you're not fond of how he acts. How do you feel like, how do people justify? Because I'm in my bubble, it's obviously 99% Biden supporters, and the Trump supporters we know are not vocal, so we'll never know really their opinion. But like, how do they feel like it doesn't matter how he acts as long as he promises these things? Is that how do you justify the pass? Because presidents to me should be like, and I'm old school in this mentality. They should be presidential. Like, even there's people that I don't really agree with on the Republican Party, but like, they hold themselves in a way that's like respectful to the rest of the world.
Well, I listened to your podcast the other day, and you mentioned actually the same line of thinking. And in that respect, I agree with you as well. The leader of any country should make their people proud by how they present themselves. And this leader certainly hasn't done that, in my book anyhow. But on the other hand, I'm trying to think of an analogy that makes some sense. Is how do you support the policy and not the person? And I guess, I mean, this is a terrible analogy, but you need to get your house painted, and $10,000 is the best quote you get. And then some guy who's a total jerk but a great painter for $2,000 says, "I'll paint your house." And people say, "Well, I can't believe you let that guy paint your house. He's a jerk." And well, yeah, he did. He is, and I don't stand him, but he did a great job, and he saved me some money. So
got it.
It's not a good analogy, but hopefully you get the vibe of what I'm trying to say there a little bit.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I think I just struggle with the rationale that people vote for him, and when it comes to certain things, like if guns is your only issue and that's all you're going to vote on, I get it. If taxes is your only issue and that's all you care about, then I get it. It's when all these other topics come into play, I'm so confused on the rationale of voting.
Increasing of divisiveness that his whole entire persona rests on. So he's encouraging the chance of lock up the Michigan governor, which is a pretty even state in terms of blue and red voters.
I don't like the Wolverines, so I don't care.
The Spartans are cool. But no, I mean,
Oh yeah, hold on. You missed a really important. Oh no, go finish your thought on it, and then I have an important.
yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I understand. So, I mean, I think on one of the episodes we kind of went over who are the Trump voters, and if you hold conservative values, you want conservative judges making law on the federal level, and that's what a conservative president's going to do. So if you're an evangelical Christian and you have strong values that are very conservative, a Republican president as kind of outlandish as Trump, you just put that aside and say, at least my values are going to be held at the federal level. And I get that to an extreme, but I'm thinking about the kind of middle of the road voter, how if you're kind of just in the middle and you just see you have a choice, because I think the country's, I'm optimistic that we're more together than divided. And if we are, then how do you choose Trump over Biden or Trump over anything that isn't as divisive?
Well, you're right. And the short story is, if he had acted more presidential the last 4 years and didn't know what Twitter was, Joe Biden probably wouldn't have much of a chance against him. Okay. But I think then it's that middle of the road, the voter that you're talking about, who's the one that's probably going to be swayed away from Trump, even though maybe he voted for them the last time, because yeah, he supports the things that are important to me, but he's just too embarrassing to have where he's at. And that's a serious problem. And if he had a political advisor that could have caught his attention and made him realize that 3.5 years ago, he'd be in a much better place than what he is today.
Agree.
I was sorry. Mine was silly. I just wanted to add. What do you think about the LeBron James diss?
You know what? Are you asking me?
Yeah,
I haven't followed it.
Ohio. Yeah.
I haven't followed it, so I really can't answer that.
Yeah, he just at his rally he said, he's a loser and no one watches the
NBA
because and the whole crowd was screaming whatever they were screaming.
LeBron sucks. LeBron sucks. LeBron
sucks. I just think, look, Ohio's a key state. I know he was in Michigan, which is our enemy, but man, bold move.
Yeah.
Well, that's
that's a good
terribly immature, which he's been that way for 3.5 years. So, was it a smart move? No. But it's who he is. And I'm not saying that that's okay. It's just a shame that's the way he is.
Drama, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Why the hell aren't you here?
Well, listen, I was under the understanding that we were all Zooming in.
No, I texted, I was waiting on.
But that was today. I thought you said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a nanny. I don't know if it's going to be safe. We're all Zooming in.
So that was the original thought. And now I was able to secure, the nanny situation.
You're not far.
Sure. I literally went through my whole day and just thought we would all be getting a Zoom link. This is how we'd all be talking. And then I realized about 30 minutes ago that I was the only one. I just wanted to show this. I wanted to show a little exclusive when it comes to LeBron James and Mr. Pfaff.
Oh, wow.
A little bit of Mr. Mr. Pfaff is a photographer, and this is some of his work.
Wow. I've been hearing about this photo since the day I met John. So I finally got to see it.
That's LeBron and Bronny. And
wow. So that's probably Bronny's first pick.
Pretty close.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I call greatness, not LeBron sucks.
So that's why I was curious what my dad thought about the LeBron, because he's been close to the James group.
I've always thought he's conducted himself really well, especially when he was young and had so much attention and money thrown in his direction. And he's gotten more involved in politics and society. And, I think we all need to do that. That's one of the cool things you guys were talking about earlier about this election. If Trump has done nothing good, he's gotten so many more people to the polls by his sheer audacity as an individual than anything else and we should be excited every 4 years to vote. We should be excited every 4 years to be involved in what happens in our country. And one of the sad things is we vote for people and then give them free reign for 4 years and don't hold them responsible for things and wonder why they act the way that they do. And maybe this voter turnout and maybe this ultimate decision, whichever way it goes, will kind of be a wake-up call to some of the politicians.
Dan, I have a question.
They owe us a little bit more than the service that they're giving us.
Dad, how old were you when you first voted?
I was 18.
Oh, really? Do you think that was more like your generation took it a little bit more serious?
I don't know if it was a generational thing, to be honest with you. I just think it was something I thought I should do, and I was not being a good individual if I didn't exercise my right to vote. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many of my classmates voted at 18 or whatever the case may be. So,
yeah, I feel like your generation definitely respects it more. And like I remember, so my parents were immigrants. When they were able to first vote as American citizens, it was like a big deal. They were very proud. It was like a very exciting thing. My parents vote every election. The weird April elections that no one votes, my mom and dad are voting in those. And it's something that I think people really pride themselves on, especially coming from a variety of different countries. Obviously, India is not an oppressive country, but you know, some of these folks in Florida that came from Cuba or Venezuela, where they are persecuted and they are facing like an uphill climb in life. I think they're also very aggressive to come out and vote. What I'm so curious, and I see a lot of our Latin listeners in the chat, why do outside of Cubans and Venezuelans from socialist countries or communist countries, why do they vote for Trump? Is it because of religion? Is it because I don't understand that, frankly. I mean, this guy wanted to build a wall. He called caravans of people coming into the country rapists and murderers. Like, what is the inclination at that point to feel comfortable with voting for Trump? I would love to know that. Eric, by the way, is okay. All I know is I'm Mexican and F Trump. So we got some, and so, but I'm genuinely curious because I do get a lot of DMs from Latinos that say they voted for Trump, and I don't get it. I would say especially Mexican Americans.
And so before you guys both got on Drama, Mr. Pfaff, what the early data shows is that Trump has closed heavy on the Hispanic vote, significantly better than he did in 2016. And Biden is trending significantly better among white voters, which this is just a 2020 conundrum.
I mean, you can't begin
as is all of 2020.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like the kind of early data shows, which is just interesting to me.
Yeah. I'm just really curious about turnout because you made a good point earlier on in that I don't really see what would cause you to go out and vote if it isn't this. So you'd have to imagine that this is the highest voting turnout that we'll see for a very long time. So like, what's that really turn out to be? And also I want to know like what, how many men, how many women, how many different races, income levels, like who's really voting when things are this contentious. I can't wait to go over.
Well, I think everybody feels they've got something in the game, regardless of their financial status or, if they were born here or immigrated here or whatever the case may be. And either there's people out there who really want to keep it the way it is really bad. So they're, rousing their forces, or there's people who really, really want change. And so they're rousing their forces. And I think one of the things that's created a bigger turnout is you probably haven't seen two presidents that were more opposite, and sadly, maybe two parties that were more opposite than these two presidents and these two parties. And you don't usually fall too much in the middle in these situations. You're either on one side or another. And so you either want to keep what you have or get what you want. And I think that's one of the things spurring people on more to the polls than before.
Yeah, I just know I live right above a polling station. I could see it all day, and there wasn't even enough of a line for me to be able to see anyone that wasn't indoors for the entire day. So maybe that's just here.
Yeah.
I don't think anywhere in California there was lines. I went for a drive and a run, and I probably went by 10 locations and I didn't see anybody waiting anywhere. I saw like 3 people outside of a school. But I also think in places like California, there's an abundance of polling places. A lot of people probably voted early. We've had early voting since what, like October 16th, I think. So people have had plenty of time to vote in California. It's not like other states. By the way, our background feels a little bit of a Confederate flag vibe.
We change it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
let's change
yeah.
to something more calming at this point.
Who did that? Was that Tim? Is he the
No, Pete.
big Robert E. Lee fan?
So I mean,
Can we get a quick update on? I just have some questions because I'm far from super educated on these topics.
Yeah.
I see a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
I see Joe Biden 122. I see Donald Trump 92. I see Ohio's in limbo. It looks like a lot of red. Can we get an update on what this all means?
So according to CNN, they've called 89 delegates to Joe Biden, 54 for Donald Trump. Ohio hasn't been called yet, and it's leaning towards Biden. Mitch McConnell has already won Kentucky, so there's no chance of that turkey neck going anywhere.
That's a bummer.
He definitely. What sucks is I kept donating. I was on the email list for all the Senate races, and I kept donating to Amy McGrath, knowing she was going to lose, but I just felt like there was a fighting chance you could. But that's done. So all the red in the middle, unfortunately, is not a lot of electoral college votes, like Oklahoma and Tennessee and West Virginia. Those aren't. There's not enough meat in the bones there on the votes to call it. It's really, we're now waiting for Florida, Pennsylvania. New York's already been called for Biden, which there's no surprise there. DC, Maryland. So now we're just waiting on the big states to really start coming in. And Florida is the first big one. They haven't called it, but I mean, given what the numbers are coming in already, it's pretty hard for Biden to win Florida.
And I'd like to point out that now everyone thinks the betting odds are the way to look. And now Trump is the overwhelming favorite to win the presidency from a betting perspective.
Wow.
And that was a big signal in 2016. I don't think it's as reflective in 2020, because just more people are gambling.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2016, I would say it was just more sharps. And now 2020 is it's like retail investors. It's almost like the Robin Hood effect.
Yeah.
As opposed to just whales putting in $5 million bets on Trump. And everyone's tweeting how that's indicative. But if you look at how counties are reporting across North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, it seems kind of foolish to think it's as lopsided as the gambling odds currently show. I could be totally wrong, but let's see.
This is the Dave Portnoy crowd.
Yeah, the Dave Portnoy, Clay Travis are salivating, tweeting about the odds. I think it's Retail Joe.
Just coming in, just
on
getting excited.
And DraftKings. And,
yeah.
If you think about the states that are legalized betting, it's like Tennessee. It's a lot of states that Trump carries.
Yeah. So Eric Deluxe is running polls for us. He's our pollster on our team. He's doing a poll right now on why Latinos vote for Trump. It's leaning towards religion as being the main reason. So that's super interesting. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see how the night goes. I'm shocked. So now Trump is the favorite. Is that confirmed?
Trump is the betting favorite currently.
But if I went on a gambling
minus
site,
180.
Oh my God! Oh wow!
That's because
Biden was minus 180 this morning.
Yeah. So I think this is what's going on from a betting perspective. Everyone is holding the New York Times needle as gospel.
Yeah.
And the New York Times needle currently is showing Georgia and North Carolina. Georgia, I think, is Trump no matter what.
Yeah.
It's done. But it's leaning North Carolina red. But if you look, we're watching the results come in live on CNN. It's far from over.
Yeah.
And Trump has to win Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Arizona. He does that, he is the president.
Yeah.
if those flip, he's not.
So you're telling me like if Trump wins Ohio, if this goes blue on my screen,
Trump can't win if he loses Ohio because their pathway to presidency is including Trump as red. That was a foregone conclusion for the Trump pathway to be president.
The pathway.
The pathway.
and then have they already counted all of the mail-ins? Like, how are they treating that part?
So it's state by state. It's all different. So I think the key to look at is Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania is going to be counting votes for a week or two post-election. Wisconsin, for example, I mean, Pete's boys, they don't even start counting absentee and mail-in votes till today.
Oh God! And I would assume those
They're
people.
not the smartest of people.
And imagine like those people counting. 1,
Hey,
2. Wait. Is that 1, 2? I mean, I can't imagine all that cheese makes you that smart.
So, what are the chances that like do we fall asleep tonight knowing the outcome?
I mean, it's going to come down to these like Ohio and North Carolina. If Biden wins both those states, then it becomes very, very hard for Trump to win. Because we know the entire West Coast is probably going to go to Biden. Like, I don't think he's going to win Washington State or Oregon or any of these states. You know, California. You know, I got a bunch of DMs. California's going red. Did you see Beverly Hills? Beverly Hills is like 200 people protesting. I mean, that's not gonna. I mean, I just don't see those types of things happening. So we'll have to wait and see. Pete should take Drama's chair. No, he's not smart enough.
It's actually fascinating because if you look on just the group chats I'm in and Twitter, everyone is taking the gambling odds as the favorite, or it's like gospel, like this is it.
So it's over.
So
we can just turn off.
So I mean,
good night, guys.
which I think is just it seems foolish.
The gambling.
So in North Carolina, 80% of the votes are in, and Biden is still winning by 85,000 votes. I mean, 85,000 votes with 80% in is a big margin in a state like North Carolina. So I don't know what counties have reported, but that's a pretty damn good sign that that's leaning towards Joe Biden. So North Carolina continues to be important. Georgia looks like a loser to me.
Yeah, Georgia's gone.
I mean, it's only 43%.
No, it's gone.
Anand's called Georgia's before
gone.
CNN, before Fox News.
No, I think Georgia was just this reach
Okay,
that Democrats thought could turn blue, but it wasn't going to
got it.
because of counties like where Atlanta is and whatnot.
I mean, yeah, maybe all those counties haven't been reported. I mean, it's Florida to me is just he's up by 300,000 votes, so that's a wrap.
And Biden is still leading in Ohio.
Yeah,
So
so
leading in Pennsylvania with still early.
tell me the states again on in Florida.
So for Trump to be president, he needs to win Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. Ohio, they already assume they're winning. And Biden can't flip Arizona or Texas.
Got it.
Because the assumption also is Wisconsin and Michigan are going for Biden. So if that comes in for Trump, then, those odds will be much more favorable for Trump.
What do we know what cousin Gary voted?
No, and if I did, I wouldn't be allowed to tell you anyhow.
I might be able to get some info. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll text you and tell you who he voted for.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. Look, no one in my immediate family is like an overt Trump supporter. So there might be some low key ones. Cousin Gary could be one of them. I don't know. But we don't have any no one's showing up to a Pfaff family Christmas with a MAGA hat.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, there's family members anyhow.
What did you say, Dad?
I said no family members anyhow.
No, there might actually be a couple family members, but they're just enough on the outer ring that they don't come to the family dinner.
Yeah.
So in your neighborhood, Mr. Pfaff, is it like there's people? Is there anyone with the Biden sign on their front lawn? And if so, and how? Like, what does tomorrow look like? With like, I'm so curious in the suburban community where there's people on opposing views. Are they like spitting at each other at the local grocery store at Swenson's?
I would hope not. But I'm sure, I have some concerns depending how the election goes, how some of the general public may act. And as you know, it doesn't take a big group to make a big mess.
Yeah.
Immediate friends, so on and so forth. Everybody has their preferences one way or another. I don't see anybody hating each other in the morning if the other guy wins or whatever the case may be. And I could see a little bit of unrest as a potential. Hopefully it's only a little bit.
Yep. Well, we have big news for QAnon. The Republican businesswoman in Northwest Georgia won her House seat. She's big on QAnon and bigoted views. She won the seat for the Republican Party. Congratulations, QAnon.
That's the lady that like ran on.
Yeah. Yes. Her name is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she won.
In Georgia, right?
Yes. She has said that the FBI, the FBI has warned such fringe views as a domestic terror threat, and that Donald Trump secretly fights to bring down a cable of pedophiles.
Cabal.
Oh shit! I read this for Cabal. Sorry.
And that works. So she's a winner.
Yes,
she's a winner.
She won. Congratulations to QAnon. They have a nice little movement going. They're like the new Tea Party.
So you're telling me I win either way?
Yeah.
Yeah, you already won big. So, I mean, on my screen, Ohio just went from a dim blue to a dim red, which is where it's leaning.
Yeah, I'm watching that right
still
now.
dim blue on my screen.
Oh, I like your screen.
And Mickey is reporting betting odds. Mickey said it just went from a 250 to a negative 250 to a negative 220. So we're making progress.
Making some
I
progress.
honestly think this year the betting odds, I think in 2016 the betting odds were very indicative for the reasons I said earlier, that it was actually like sharps. Sharps are gambling experts, and this is just retail going one way or the other, meaning like average people betting $100, $200 versus people betting millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. So I think if you look at Twitter, and we all know Twitter's not real life, everyone is just honing in on the gambling odds. And I don't think there's enough information. So minus 250, to put that in context, is if you were to just look at an average like professional sporting match, you pretty much can't lose.
Yeah, guaranteed win.
Yes, at minus 250.
Like you're betting the money line. Like,
yeah, money line, it's like Lakers Hawks.
Yeah. The Lakers are winning.
Yes.
So it's effectively over.
So from a gambling perspective, all these gambling experts, it's basically over. You should turn your television off, turn Twitter off.
Yeah.
Go home, get a good night's sleep.
Yep. Because
I just don't believe it.
Pete, it seems like we have some complaining in the chat. They want someone banned. I think his name is Pete's an idiot.
I wish it was me, but it's not.
It's not. It's not even Pete.
No, I'm on group chat.
I want him kicked out, so I just take a look at it.
What is everyone drinking tonight, Mr. Pfaff? Do you drink?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not
Drama. Drama.
White Claw.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
What flavor? I can't see what that is.
Ruby grapefruit.
Okay, nice.
That's good for the heartland.
I don't know the difference. I have a little mixed, mixed box in the fridge. I just grabbed the first one. So
got it.
I'll say this: you're missing out on some good IPAs.
What are you saying?
You're missing out on some good IPAs.
I know. I was really looking forward to your that Melrose one or whatever it's called.
Drinking another one from that same brand right now.
Okay, there you go. Chug it for me.
I will. Also, we've got a poll going. Who's going to win Ohio, Trump or Biden? Currently, Biden has 76% of our 76% of our viewers think Biden's going to win Ohio.
Got it.
Ohio all day.
OH.
I like that. Well, I'm drinking tequila. I went to 4 liquor stores today on the way here to get 1942, and not one store had it. And I went to like small little niche little liquor stores, and I also went to the Bevmos and the big grocery stores. Not one person had it. Only thing that was available is Casamigos. So I got that. There's one person on Drizzly selling it in Santa Monica for $350.
That's over $2, right?
It's usually $149 anywhere.
Holy shit.
I went and talked.
Sorry for cussing. Apologize.
I went to my local liquor store and actually had a conversation with them. There was a major agave shortage in October for Don Julio, or just the industry, and it has caused this delay.
That's very interesting. I have a question, Mr. Pfaff.
Yes.
Our neighborhoods are all boarded up where we live out here in LA. Is
Yes.
Ohio, is there any concern of protests either way, or is it all just business as normal?
I haven't seen anything in our immediate area where I am around here. There was a little bit on the news that Cleveland was boarding up their Justice Center and putting up some fences and a few other things in anticipation of some unrest, but I myself haven't actually seen anything.
Interesting. So that's just a metropolitan issue.
I think more so, yeah.
Well, because, I mean, I think, one, there is a lot more diversity in metropolitan cities where there's like a lot more. There's a lot more places. We're on top of each other in metropolitan cities. You take a New York, you take an LA, we're just in front of people all day. So like we're expecting, like when I went to go to Earth Bar, which is like a juice shop in West Hollywood, it's always crowded with people coming in and out. There was no one there. I was the only one picking up juice at 3:00. It was completely empty. So I think there's just, the streets are definitely quiet. Obviously people are interested in the election, but there's definitely fear. People are boarding up everything in town. People are scared. Everyone's like, like sending me message like, good luck. I don't expect anything to happen regardless of the election. Like I expect people to have protests. Like I said before, in June during all the protests, drama lives in the heart of Hollywood. I live in the heart of Hollywood. I never felt unsafe. I'll be honest. I never felt that way. So I'm not going to feel unsafe. I think what happened in June created more tension in the country than who the president is. That's my belief.
You would hope so.
Yeah. So I don't have any crazy feeling on that, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. There's also a lot of important Senate races. So South Carolina, we're looking at. Arizona, we're looking at.
Colorado flipped for the Democrats. That was the first Democratic seat to flip.
For the Senate?
Yeah.
Wow.
In the Senate.
So, I mean, just for people that are watching that are, understand politics, if Trump wins, but the Democrats win the Senate, it's effectively like having no power. You can't pass any legislation. So sure, Donald Trump, there'll be certain things, there'll be the rhetoric and the tone, but like actually passing laws becomes impossible because you got to have the Senate support to actually pass laws. So that obviously will cause a gridlock. If any of you guys are, big on EDD, trying to collect that extra $600 a month or potentially getting that stimulus check, that will cause that to get delayed, held up, and, will cause problems for the economy if we don't get stimulus. I mean, there's so many people out of work. There's so many businesses that are struggling. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, so I guess Virginia was the big controversy. It was supposed to be a state that Donald Trump was going to win. And then for some reason, I forget which national network called it Biden, but Trump has more votes than Biden. And now there's all this controversy on Virginia. It really wasn't a swing state. Donald Trump was supposed to win it.
I believe Obama won Virginia.
He did. He won Virginia and North Carolina.
How did a black guy named Barack Hussein Obama win all these states?
And there's actually another interesting stat. So if you look at all the elections from 2000 on, only 2 elections have been called officially on election night. Obama 04, Obama 08.
So here's an interesting also bit of information. The Al Gore...
Trump won Alabama. Roll Tide.
Yes. Thank God. Thank God. I was nervous Alabama might flip. We had those 2 listeners there that were pulling for us.
They were on the inside.
Yeah, they were on the inside telling us there was a shot. but I think there's a general feeling that like a lot of these states that Obama won, I'm just blown away that they've gone totally the other direction. Like there's not even like.
So Tucker Carlson, who actually
you're a big fan of.
No, I actually think if Tucker Carlson, he's a very smart dude. He just holds extreme right views.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's very smart.
And if you had Donald Trump's marketing ability and Tucker Carlson's intelligence, it's literally unbeatable. So he went on a rant, I think it was yesterday, and he gave an entire anecdote about Butler, Pennsylvania. So Butler, Pennsylvania is a city that has been crushed by the opioid crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to the point where they even have like an opioid memorial in Butler, Pennsylvania, because that many people have died from it.
Oh my God.
So Trump was there on Saturday, and there were people, like tens and tens of thousands of people. And what his point was, he's like, the people of Butler, Pennsylvania are the people of generations that have built this country. And now the ruling class, meaning the politicians, have basically said, we don't care about you, and you're not important because you're not driving economic value. So they've kind of ignored him. And then there's this guy, Donald Trump, and I give all credit to Roger Ailes, not Donald Trump, to recognize that disconnect, that Donald Trump was this guy that's like, I'm going to go fight for you. And the crowd was, I think, one of his biggest of the weekend in this one city in Pennsylvania. And he was basically saying, this is happening all around the country. You have this entire swath of the population that has been left behind by politicians in states that dictate the election.
Yeah.
And Roger Ailes, all credit to him, he figured that out. And Trump was his conduit. And Trump has stayed to that playbook. And he said all MSNBC reported was not that there's this opioid crisis crushing Butler, Pennsylvania, was that there's this rally that's a COVID super spreader.
Yeah. And I think that's a fundamental flaw of the Democratic strategy for a lot of people, especially, I would say, the TV networks.
Mm-hmm.
They're so anti-Trump and they're not pro anything else that is showing that there's progress being made in the country. And I think if your strategy is just don't vote for Trump, I don't know if that wins. And we're going to find out today if that was enough. But like saying, oh, I don't believe in Trump, that's your entire strategy. That's a dangerous strategy. I wanted to share something that was super interesting. So in 2000, in the Bush-Gore election, that election got decided in December.
Correct.
By the Supreme Court. The stock market crashed 9% during that period because of uncertainty.
So Tim can buy the dip.
Yes. So the stocks recovered, but uncertainty of who is going to be a president is very, very scary. So if tonight we don't have a president, stock market goes down tomorrow. Uncertainty.
100%. If we don't, every day we don't have a president, regardless Trump or Biden, the stock market will be affected. Today,
the stock market was soaring because I think they felt like the Democrats were going to win the House, the Senate, and the presidency, meaning there would be a lot of stimulus passed, and that would kind of reinvigorate the economy.
Yeah. No, I think, the fact that only 2 elections in the last 20 years have been decided on election night is a telling sign that I don't think we'll have a winner tonight. I think you may lean either way. I have a question for both Drama and Mr. Pfaff. What are the odds Donald Trump declares victory midnight Eastern time, maybe midnight West Coast time, 3 a.m. East Coast time?
Are you asking us this because we're white?
Well, because you guys usually in this country, you guys usually decide things. We don't really have a say.
You guys decided 2016, so I'm deferring to more credible voices.
I think 98% chance Trump declares victory tonight.
Okay.
I'm not saying he wins. I'm saying 98% chance he says he won.
I'd say he might do that by 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Just so you can get a good night's sleep.
And judging by your clock, that's about 7 minutes from now.
That's right.
No, because this is a widely reported fact. This isn't like hearsay. The Trump advisors are on record saying we need to declare victory on election night so we can steal it in the courts.
Yeah.
Then that's not controversial.
Yeah.
That's widely reported.
Yeah. I think that's totally the strategy. I think he'll be celebrating tonight. We'll see clips of him celebrating with his people. I think for sure he takes that strategy.
So there's two big events for Trump tonight. One in the White House. It's only 250 people. His closest criminal friends. They'll be together. And then there's one at Mar-a-Lago, which is the big event. 400-person event at Mar-a-Lago.
I wonder
Do you
how much they
understand
pay.
Oh, probably $100,000.
Yeah, it must be insane.
And
Wait, Trump's in the White House, so you're not getting a Trump visit.
no, you might get like a FaceTime to the whole crew. Can you imagine? You're like, I don't know, 85 years old, and you're bringing your 26-year-old wife to Mar-a-Lago, and you may not come home because 400 people in a room together at Mar-a-Lago is not the optimal place to survive in today's environment.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
pretty
they'll all
great.
be wearing masks.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Melania refusing to wear a mask to vote. Is she even a citizen? How is that? Is she a citizen?
I don't know. I mean, you would think she probably knows somebody who could push her thing through, right?
Are prostitutes allowed to be citizens?
That's
Oh,
a spicy
no.
take. That's a tequila take.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now the
that's a
tequila's kicking in. It's been an hour. This is half tequila here.
I think pretty soon you're going to have to let Mr. Pfaff off the chat.
He's thinking the same thing. He just doesn't want to say it.
Everyone has a
makes you
little
smarter.
D in there. What'd you say?
Said age makes you smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you know when to bite your tongue, I think that's all.
Yeah. I'm getting old, man. I'm 40 now.
Yeah, well, you didn't learn it yet. We'll try again at 50. Actually, I want to say you've gotten significantly better. I think probably 5, maybe 8 years ago, a tequila live stream with Dee would have been a non-starter.
I would be out of work. I would have no business.
Yeah.
It would be over.
Yep.
So Lindsey Graham has been declared the winner from Fox News for South Carolina.
That sucks. Lady G, congratulations.
Mhm.
So it looks like the Senate is going to be tough to flip. I don't think people were banking on McConnell losing, but I think people thought Lindsey Graham had a shot. Which, I think the bubble view was that it was a blue wave, and the national view was that Biden was going to win. So let's see. So the Trump campaign has announced victory in Florida.
Okay.
But I think that looks like pretty accurate. So no beef here.
Pennsylvania on my screen just went from light blue to light red.
My screen too.
But Pennsylvania,
my screen only shows blue.
They haven't even counted mail-in votes, so that's
Right.
going to be the next week or two. So I think that's the Trump plan, is basically show the in-person vote leading red, declare victory, stop the counts, and be president.
Okay, so he's president of the United States. Congratulations, Mr. Trump.
But the Supreme Court has already ruled against that, so we don't have to worry about that. But
I mean, imagine if the next week is like waiting on Pennsylvania mail-in count.
Can you imagine like some like Quaker in Pennsylvania we're waiting on to count that didn't go to school?
I'll drive over and check it out for you.
Yeah, please. That would be good. Like some Amish person that's never driven a car is like, 1,
Yeah.
2.
That's the bubble that Mr. Pfaff was talking about.
Yeah.
Everyone in Pennsylvania is a Quaker.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is there's someone that sent me an amazing video of Amish for Trump in their like wagon. He's driving on the freeway and he sent me the video, and he's literally like it's like a wagon with Amish for Trump.
And he has a sign?
Yeah, an Amish person, yeah.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. We were in Pennsylvania. We went to the Hershey's factory, and there were a lot of Quakers.
Yeah.
On the drive to Hershey's.
Yeah. There are a lot, but
And I was a teenager at that time, so I'm 37, so it's over 20 years ago. So I gotta.
they've multiplied.
Yeah, the Quakers just reproduce.
Yeah, I mean, Quakers are big in Pennsylvania. They're going to come out for Trump.
What's the next big what's the next big moment I'm waiting for here?
So the polls close. There are going to be a bunch of projections that come out right now. It's 7:00. So a lot of the Midwest states will close.
Iowa's going to be Trump. That he got a big lead, so they just brought that up. I'm not.
But they said too early to call.
Nevada leans Democratic.
Utah too early to call. But what do we think about the Mormons? What are they going to do? I feel like Mormons.
No, Utah's a red state.
Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney don't pay no tax.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, but why is Ohio taking so long when it's way over there on the East Coast?
I think it's just close.
Well, polls closed at 7:30, so that was 2.5 hours ago. But
what's taking so long?
we're Ohioans,
Don't do that to yourself.
I think it's just really close.
We just
Ohio's
don't write things.
Oh, we got a new background. Yeah, this is crazy. I think there's probably a lot of people right now that are very, very nervous. I feel like a lot of people, and this might be bubble talk, came into this thing thinking we were going to have a clear victory for Joe Biden.
Well, they thought that 4 years ago with Hillary, too.
Yeah, they sure did.
But I mean, I think the big difference is Biden was up by 2x that Hillary was in every possible poll in the swing states and the national poll. So at so I honestly, I think if Donald Trump wins, this is the elimination of the polling industry, elimination of data as it relates to elections, because they're clearly working with an incomplete data set. Because everything, if you just looked at the data leading up to election day, it was a resounding victory for Biden. And then, obviously it's much closer than that. And we're not going to have a lot of information that actually declares a winner soon, but you kind of just have to eliminate polls.
Yeah. I think if they are incorrect,
because a 10-point national poll, which was the final poll on the national level. And I know people will say, oh, national poll doesn't mean electoral call. I get all the arguments, but guess what the national poll reflects? States.
Yeah.
So where's the disconnect?
I think it's just that, aren't they they're just calling people and asking them, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that, especially with Trump as never before in history, there's a lot of people that vote for him that don't say it.
No, but that same logic was used against Obama, that everyone is not going to say they're not voting for Obama because he's black, but when they get in the polls, they're going to be like, oh, I don't want this black president. And
I just think
that didn't prove true. So
I think
why would it
that's
prove
really
true
different,
now?
though. I think that's different. I think that is a point with Obama, but I think there's a lot of Trump supporters that it's so everyone is so openly anti-Trump, in the entertainment world, in the Hollywood world, all that stuff. I think that there is a lot of people that vote for him that don't say it because it's so frowned upon. It's so socially unacceptable in some places. I just think that if you could take anything away from all of this, even watching this happen, even if Biden wins, and being that it's this close, I think the big thing to take away, no matter what, is there's a whole lot of people that are signed up for the Trump thing that it's easy to discount or easy to be like, oh, who even, that's confined to a very small group, or that's confined to a small section of the country, or whatever. There's a lot of people.
It's half the country.
Yeah, no, and I also think in a weird way, in a weird, twisted, disgusting way, the coronavirus, if Donald Trump wins, was a net positive for Donald Trump because he mishandled it. 230,000 people died. But then he's opening up. He wants to open up everything. He's campaigned the last 4 days. You'll never have a wedding again. You'll never have a graduation. Your kids won't go to school. And there's a large percentage of the country that wants everything to open up again.
Yeah. So it's good news for the next election. Most of that we'll be dead. So we'll win the next one if we don't win this one because they won't survive.
Yeah, but like he mishandled the pandemic completely, and I think, I mean, a lot of people want to open up everything.
A lot of fine people. Real quickly, 70% of the votes are in Ohio. Trump is now winning by 130,000 votes. Florida, 94% is in. He's winning by like 3 percentage points, so that's over. Georgia, Trump is still winning, but it's only 50% in. North Carolina is very tight, but 85% is in, and Biden is winning. So it's insane how close all of this is.
Tim's not doing well over here.
What's Tim's
He's starting
problem?
to freak out.
Oh my God, this isn't going good.
So it's interesting for people like Tim who are, gender fluid. This is not a good outcome. Like if Trump wins, your community is not going to be welcomed.
It's true.
Yeah.
I would say a vast majority of my friends are part of the LGBT community, and this is devastating.
Yeah.
Amy Barrett was devastating.
Tim is part of the group that I was talking about and I'm not dissing you here, Tim, or your friends. I'm saying I think that a lot of, especially that crowd, was like, okay, we did our 4 years. No way that happens again. And just sort of nervously waiting for Biden to win. And I think right now, especially those people have to be freaking out.
I saw a sign today, just someone just waving a flag around on Sunset, LGBTQ for Trump.
Oh my gosh.
How is that possible?
There's a niche audience for anyone for Trump. You can go Amish, you can go LGBTQ.
Yeah. I mean,
Latinos growing.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see like how like Tim's community with some of our we have
Arizona. Oh wow.
Wow.
He voted today, Eric. Congratulations to you.
You're on mute.
You gotta plug your headphones in.
There he is.
There he goes.
There he is.
We're live.
We're
Yes.
live.
Eric Deluxe has entered the building.
Eric Deluxe. He's very famous on Twitch.
Very famous Twitch guy.
I'm a Twitch superstar.
This Twitch superstar.
And that's it. Outside of Twitch, I'm nothing.
I'm going to share the story, Eric, because that's why we're here. Last night, I texted Eric. I texted a lot of people, and I said, "Are you voting?" And Eric's like, "I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't vote."
You can say the truth.
Okay, go ahead. No. You said no. Okay, I was
no.
trying to give you a cover here.
No, I'll be, because it's okay to be honest. Like honestly, I think I voted when I turned 18 because I was allowed to, and it was like fun. And ever since then, I haven't. And to be honest, it's because I don't know enough about politics to vote, and I don't really keep up with it. And I just I'm a shut up and dribble type of guy. Like I just kind of like, I just kind of go with the punches. Like neither party, like I know what my family benefits from, and then I make a little more money, so I know where I benefit from. So it's like a weird situation. But yesterday when you called me, because I know how important it is. Trust me. I didn't not vote because I'm against it. I just felt like, also being in California, everyone always says, oh, it's a blue state. Like they're going to win regardless. I was going to go Democrat. So I never felt like I needed or like I counted, right? Never felt like it mattered. When you called me last night, like we don't talk too often since you became a
Famous person
guy. Yeah. No,
I was saying celebrity.
No, not a celebrity, not a famous podcaster. When you became a family guy, is when we stopped hanging out because you're busy. So when you called me last night, I was like, oh shit, you know what? Like this is very important. And I set my alarm 6 a.m. and I was at the voting poll at 7 a.m. and I voted.
How'd it feel?
It felt great. Like honestly, it felt really good because even though, everyone thinks California is automatically going to be blue, right? It still felt like I did my part, and it still felt like I was, I don't know, it felt important, to be honest. It felt good. So I want to thank you, D, for that, because honestly, I wasn't gonna vote, man. Like it's just, to me, I'm not political, and it's what's crazy is I don't ever go on social media and talk about politics. So it'd be different if I'm on social. Did we lose the guys?
Yeah, yeah. But
Well, the important people are here.
The Pfaffs are here. So
Yeah, that's right.
it's different if I was like on social media talking all this shit about either party.
Yeah.
And I don't vote. Like I'm quiet. Like I just work and I mind my business, and it's just like,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I get that. I think it's something that I think maybe I voted when I was like 18 or 19 or whatever year that was, and then the last 2 years. And I do think it's cool because it is like, we're lucky to have the rights to vote, and we're lucky to live in a, democracy and all that stuff. But I sort of felt the same way as you did. But I will say there's something about actually going and doing it. Like you just said, I went on Saturday. That just feels good. I don't know. It just feels like you're doing your part.
It honestly it felt really good, bro. Like I will vote every 4 years from now on, because it does matter. I was kind of like in my own world, busy traveling, DJing, boo, woo, woo. Like I don't pay attention to what's really going on in the world. Like you obviously do, but I was like you said, just the last 2 times you voted, but up until then, you kind of just let whatever happen, and you roll with the punches. Like that's just the way we do it, right?
Yeah.
But it felt really good, and I'm very glad I did. And honestly, I posted my voting thing, and just to see people proud of me actually doing that felt good too. Yeah. And obviously that's not why we do it. You don't do it for the attention, but you also post it for awareness, so other people can vote.
You're a part of something. I do got to say for the chat, this is now the second thing, voting and also Coachella. We turned you on.
Yeah,
because you were also very anti-Coachella, and then you went and you said, "I see why you guys do this." So
no. I was more anti-Coachella than I was anti-voting.
Yeah, and look at you now.
And now I'm a big voter, big Coachella guy.
So D, you came in right at the right time.
D. We don't have audio though from D.
Guys, blame Pete.
Pete,
you know who to blame.
Shout out to Vice in the chat. What's up, Vice?
What's up, Vice? Looks like Pete.
First of all, hi, Mr. Pfaff. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah. Have you ever met Eric?
Not yet. No. First time.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Eric is a very close friend for many, many years. I'm glad you guys could meet here on the live stream. Eric, we had my dad in to be the voice from Ohio.
Yeah. No, I listened to the podcast, so I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm very aware.
Hopefully, Chris is aware. and by the way, your mom's name is not Karen.
Oh, did she get mad about that?
She was okay with it.
I like how Anthony had her back. That's a
Anthony really. Did she hear what Anthony said?
Huh?
Did she hear what Anthony said?
Actually, Anthony's welcome here for Christmas. She's still thinking about Chris.
Yeah. Anthony really had her back on that.
He jumped in there. I was pretty proud of him.
Yeah. And he just did that based on instinct. He's never even met either of you.
Yeah.
Check.
Are you back?
We got audio back.
You got us?
We got us back. Eric, we got kicked off, but I listened to everything you said. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I think it's.
And thank you for calling me, because I needed that. Like sometimes you feel like you don't matter, you're not important, and like you kind of depend on the rest of the country or the rest of the state or whatever to do their part. So I'm glad you lit some fire under my.
Yeah, and I think the important part, and I'm really happy you voted, Eric, is that sure, from a presidential election standpoint, it's likely not going to affect your life, our lives for the most part. But the local elections in the state props matter significantly.
For sure.
So, for example, Prop 22. If Prop 22, which is how you classify Uber drivers and Postmates and Lyft drivers, is a no, Uber and Lyft are going to leave the state. Can you imagine your life now in 2020 without Uber or Lyft or Postmates?
No. Well, definitely Uber or Lyft because I drink. So I need them to take me home.
Exactly. So I think that's where everyone's kind of disenchanted kind of feeling about elections, because if you just think about it from the federal level, like, oh, California, your vote doesn't matter. Sure, from the presidential election, it doesn't. I get it. But guess what does matter? Props that affect whether you're going to be able to use an Uber or Lyft, whether your property taxes are going to skyrocket, whether judges and district attorneys are going to dictate the way LA is run. Those matter significantly, and the votes are so tiny of what flips either of those.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's.
I will say this too, D. You made me vote. It was like 28 things I had to vote on, and I was very clueless on many of them. Like, like local people, and I was like, damn, I don't know.
Well, you know what I said? I texted you this. I was like, vote for what you know and just leave it blank if you don't feel comfortable.
I didn't guess like I used to on tests back when I was a kid, so I definitely just did skip because I didn't want to vote for the wrong person in the wrong seat.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's admirable to just. I remember when I was younger, I would just be voting for shit, and I didn't even know what it was, and so. As I got older, I was like, I'd rather not vote for something incorrectly. I'll just leave it blank. But now I'm obviously more inclined to learn kind of what's going on.
Yeah. I think Mr. Pfaff has to sign off. He threw up the bat sign.
Okay. Heading to sleep, Mr. Pfaff?
Yeah, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and somebody's going to be a president. So I hear.
Okay.
I don't think so. You're going to be up a lot earlier than us.
Maybe it depends on who you're listening to, I guess.
Yeah.
Guys, we'll see you. Thanks for the invite, Eric. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Thanks, Mr. Pfaff.
See you guys.
See ya.
Okay.
See you, Chris. Love
See
you.
ya. Love ya.
I was very shocked I didn't see Dee Murthy on the local ballot.
For running?
He already ran and then he dropped
or
out.
anything. I was like, well, I thought you were a freaking politician.
I resigned from my position.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you step down?
I stepped down right before COVID. I was like, I can't commit to this.
You know what we say on the pod about people who randomly step down out of nowhere, right?
Pedophilia?
Hanky-panky, I think is what we call it.
Got some skeletons in the closet, huh?
No, it's too much. It's actually a lot of work.
Yeah. I don't think you realized that when you had to go to meetings and.
But now it would have to be annoying, like Zoom meetings. Obviously, you'd be so.
Yeah. So I went to all the meetings when I was a neighborhood council member, and the reason why I really left was I couldn't believe how much bureaucracy is to make the smallest change, and I got really, really frustrated. Where we were literally talking about every person that was walking into this meeting was complaining about Airbnb people. That, why is this unit doing Airbnb? Why is this house doing Airbnb? I'm like, this is a new industry. Instead of trying to block Airbnb in this part of town, why don't we figure out how to make it work? Because the Airbnb is not going anywhere. We need to be a little more progressive thinking. And it just got very frustrated sitting every month in these meetings. And that's what people are concerned with, not actually making our community a better place.
All right,
So
enough about your short-lived politician career. People want the updates. Trump's in the lead.
So I'll tell you, Anthony's live text to me. He goes, Biden might get smoked. So I mean, look, they still haven't called the big states. I don't see how Florida comes into the Democrats. So Trump is definitely winning Florida. Ohio, Trump is now in the lead considerably with 75% in.
So I'd like to point out the NASDAQ futures are on fire. They're up 4% in after hours trading.
That's insane.
And no idea if he wants to be named, but I'm going to name him anyways. Michael Katz, our close friend,
Yeah,
just texted us and said, that lends me to believe that that's a Democratic win for tech because it's less regulation on like kind of what Trump's agenda against Bezos and everyone is. And we'll see, because the Dow isn't up that much. The Dow is like very marginally up in the futures, and that's a traditional oil and bellwether companies that typically would benefit. So interesting. And
So
the betting markets, I'm going to go on record and say that the betting markets are flawed. And not to say that Donald Trump can't win, but the odds they're showing now, it's like minus 600. That's like the Warriors in like the game 1 of the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. Guaranteed win. We got another special guest, our friend Omar Miller, joining the
Wow.
What up?
What's up, Omar?
Big O.
Just trying to rebuke MAGA. You know what I do. MAGA trying to show out strong. Punk ass America. America is the most unclutch athlete you've ever seen. America is the Barry Bonds of countries. It's just unbelievable. We put up crazy regular season numbers, and the postseason comes, and it's like, what are you doing, America? But I'm watching it, and even though that's what I get off the top, I'm with Anand 100%. I think the betting market is full of crap, and a good 3 out of 5 of us on here I can confirm were or are degenerate gamblers.
Definitely me.
And we know how those numbers sway. And I also think, I don't know what I missed on the chat so far, but there's just no discounting the rampant suppression of voters and cheating that's going on. So I won't go as far as you did, Dee, to say that you'll call Florida already, even though Florida looks like it's stretched out. Bro, they got just post offices full of ballots that Democrats sent that are just sitting around.
Yeah, I mean, Florida is a tough state to get from Trump. It just, there's too many things stacked in his favor there.
I hear you.
So Omar, what has been clear, and we've talked about this a lot in the last hour and a half, that the minority vote, specifically the Hispanic vote, has closed to Trump, and the white vote is closing to Biden in suburbs and swing states. And that is as confusing as anything. And I'm not talking about Cubans and Venezuelans in Florida. I'm talking about Hispanics all across swing states, and white voters all across swing states are performing much better for Democrats than they are Republicans. What's going on?
Well, if you ask me, it's a 2-part question. I'll give you a 2-part answer. If you ask me, as we know, with growing up over time and with a diverse body of people, there are a lot of Latinos who have a lot of self-hate, who then in turn want to identify, just like a lot of minorities, as white. And what Trump and MAGA has done in a lot of ways is he uses keywords, especially because he wants to look down on people, and he appeals to the lowest base form of people's feelings and intelligence. So he allows you to look down on whoever it is that you feel supreme to, or that you want to distance yourself from, like him, even though he wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. But he gives people that license. And I think that what has happened is a lot of those people then in turn feel as though they're riding high on the hog, like he is, like they inherited $1 billion and so on and so forth. So they can look down. Secondly, on the white side, one thing that I think you can consistently say about white folks is whether or not they recognize or that they are actually prejudiced or racist, they really don't want to be affiliated and tied with blatant racism. And I think that goes a long way, because he's been over the top and relentless with his racism. I'm looking now, they're talking about how Arizona is swinging blue at this point, but it's still too early to call. And that was, somebody on television just brought up a great point. That has a lot to do with him just pounding John McCain over and over and over again, which is he's a statewide legend. He's an Arizona all-star, and then he passes away, and you just keep riding him.
Yeah.
And stuff like that matters. I think overall, if I just had to say my 2 cents, the fact that this race is still competitive with 235,000 some odd Americans dead from COVID is incredible. and it speaks to how America has been defunding education for decades, because you have to. There's just no true justification for voting for this style of leadership. Let's take the personality out. You can't really feel like this chaotic style of childish leadership is actually good for the country. I don't see how you can feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. It's just we end up living in a situation where our echo chamber says one thing. Those people are living in an echo chamber where their echo chamber says something else. They're on Facebook. They're at the local community center, and everyone is saying something different. So when you get so many of our decisions, we don't realize it, are because of the result of proximity of who is influencing us. And in this case, social media has just brainwashed both sides. I'm not saying it's just a Republican issue. Like it's social media's benefit to just make sure we only see what we want to see. So if we want to see Obama's from Kenya and Jeffrey Epstein ruined all the Democratic presidents into pedophilia, that's what we'll see. If we want to see Donald Trump as X, then that's what we'll see. And I think that is also something that we don't take into consideration, that like so much of our decisions are influenced by what we read and see, and it's so hard to decipher. I understand like you should have common sense to be able to decipher it, but like you get hit with it 14 times a day, it's impossible.
Yes and no. I mean, what you just said right there absolves individuals from their individual responsibility of critical thinking. Yeah. And we're talking about a situation with a Trump type player. It doesn't involve a lot of critical thinking. It involves basic thinking. Yeah. Even if your basic thinking is selfish, what I'm saying is I honestly can't see a justification policy-wise where people are voting for their own interest in mass by voting for MAGA. You're just not, because policy-wise, he loses jobs. He's a poor leader, so he loses lives. Now, I'm just talking policy. I'm not even talking about on the personal level, which is just despicable. I'm talking about just actual policy. If you break down the policy, he's deficient in a lot of ways. And for you to succumb to the echo chamber, it shows your own deficiency, because you're sitting around in a circle jerk where you need to get your own ego stroked to just do a confirmation bias to believe what you already believe anyways. This is the difference that you guys know when you hang out with people who are educated versus those who are not. This is what higher education teaches you. And I tell you people this all the time. It's not about teaching you what to think. It's more about teaching you how to think, and the fact that you can open your mind up. I imagine that's what they teach you smart fellas that go to high-end schools like USC, because that's the kind of stuff they taught us at the state school level.
No, we learned a cheating. School. We learned cheating.
I've made that very clear on our podcast.
It's win at all costs, cheat, murder, steal. USC, fight on.
Barack Obama, you got to pay for that.
Little pimp over here.
Well, the funniest part about this is that he tried to act like he felt his music before.
Yeah.
Love his sound.
Yo, so Omar, I have to ask.
Do you know how big he is?
Yeah, exactly.
Yo,
huge rapper.
He's huge.
Full disclosure. We did something with Little Pump, and it fucking bombed. He can't sell shit. He is garbage. He has no influence. Little Pump is a clown. My good friend, maybe he's in the chat, bought the licensing right to Little Pump. He lost so much money. Little Pump has no influence. With that being said, what do you think with all the rappers that are coming out?
Well, all the rappers that are coming out are the same thing. I was about to flip that question onto you guys. This is all the guys that you guys have tried to convince me for the last 10 years that I told you were bums, that you guys are trying to tell me, no, they're cool. They run the fashion world. Oh, they do this.
Hey, Omar. Hey, I was right on Drake. Just give me credit on Drake. That's all we got to do.
Credit on Drake. That was 2010. You were really high on Drake. I wanted to go see Carrie Hilson, and you were like, nah, I got to see this dude Drake, man. He's the best. You were spot on Drake. And Drake, and let me tell you something. Drake is anti-MAGA, so I'm with it. But a bozo like Wayne, a bozo like Kanye West, very disappointed in Q because he's allowing himself to get used, and now it seems like he's surprised that they're using him in that sense. I just all in all, I try to take everything as a, as a teachable moment, if you will. And you just see how much ego gets in the way in life, because so many of these guys are being driven by ego or narcissism or mental illness so that they can then go on to try to further their wealth or further their influence. And that all comes from a lack of internal satisfaction, that you are always striving for something. You're already rich. You're already a billionaire. So basically, this is about you feeling insufficient and insecure. It's really disappointing. But if you notice, the rappers, there's a lot of rappers that came out and completely shut these guys down. And, some of them are older, some of them are now. You have entertainers, there's a fantastic clip that I wish I had queued up, that you could see Malcolm X speaking on a talk show in the 60s, where he says, you know what? Only in the Black community are we represented by entertainers.
Yeah.
In no other community are the entertainers the people that are sought to or looked to for higher intellect and higher higher levels of leadership. Now MAGA is the same way. I mean, I think the moral of the story is entertainers are there to entertain you and oftentimes reflect and mirror society to help you grow and examine yourself. But I don't know about leadership positions of international countries.
Yeah, that's interesting because, one of the things I did notice, and I know it's not the vast majority, but there was this shift closer to the election where you saw like minority groups leaning toward Trump, which I was very surprised with, given the history. And, on the Latino side, I think it could be religion. It could be a lot of things. What do you think it is for Black America?
Well, I think that you're dealing with a situation where Black people specifically in America have been abused for so long that there's this feeling, and I've talked to a lot of Black people who are in this boat, there's this feeling of no matter who it is, it's still going to be all bad. And there's a despair there where there's a lack of hope. And in that, when you've been down for a long time or when society has tried to hold you down, that then in turn lends itself to a whatever attitude where you see people not come out. And, it's one thing that I do, like everybody on the line knows, I told everybody I would have been on CSI Miami for 100 years if they would have let me, just because of what kind of representation that was for a Black male figure being an authority figure, a cop that got along with the public.
Yeah.
Well, because the representation matters. And we never see ourselves represented on these higher levels, except for a time like with your man up there who decided to come out. And then you saw, minorities come out in droves because there's actual representation. I think that unfortunately, there's a lot of lip service. And one thing you cannot knock Trump on, he's a fantastic salesman. Yeah. He's a snake oil salesman, but he's a fantastic salesman. So if somehow or another Q believes, or Lil Wayne or Lil Pimp believes that Trump is going to come through with his platinum plan contract with Black America, and he's actually going to fulfill it if he won re-election, that's absurd. You haven't seen him fulfill any promise.
Yeah.
So why would you now start believing him? I also think the Democrats did a very poor job, and I still think that Joe Biden's going to win, but I think they did a very poor job of choosing a candidate. Out of the 330 million Americans, you chose a guy who's almost 80 years old, who has some, things in his past that don't necessarily jibe well with the culture and whatnot. I think that in general, there needs to be a top side to this race, just like there's a bottom side. Yep. You're going to be 35 to run for president. It should top out at 70. What other job do you start when you're 77 years old?
I mean, I got 37 years if I still want to run for president.
Which is plenty of time.
37 years? It's crazy shit I'm going to do.
Yeah. There's plenty of time if you wanted to jump on.
You know what happens if I ran for president 37 years from now?
Can you imagine the shit that's coming out?
You're going to be so out of, you're going to be calling guys Lil Pimp on stage.
Hey, a lot of people in the chat are saying Omar 2024.
All right, let's go.
Unfortunately, I'm an entertainer.
Keep your bread, Omar. Don't get in this whack game.
No, I'm out of that. That game is loose. I'm trying to pick up these coins on the television too. Sign me up for a Twitter account. This is nonsense. Who wants to do this? Why would you even want this job unless either A, you're actually a civil servant, or B, you're totally and completely corrupt like Donald Trump? Why would you want the job? Why would you be responsible for this many people?
I've actually talked to a lot of young people who are interested in politics. They're just, and I don't want to, it's not even in a negative way. They're so naive in the sense that they believe they can make change. And I love it. I used to be like that. I used to like dream of being a politician when I was like 18 years old. I thought that I would love to be a congressperson or a city council member because I want to make change in my community. As I gotten older, I now have a very different view of the world and understand how it works. So I'm a little disengaged, but I think what's happening right now will engage like the next generation of leaders, because you're going to see that some kid sitting in his room right now, 17 years old, is going to be the next president of the United States and is going to be that leader that we want to change the world.
And that kid's name is Kyle Rittenhouse.
Jesus Christ.
That is also the fear, though, right? It's like that side is getting motivated as well.
Yeah.
Like I thought in 2016, like, all right, we'll take the L here on the hate thing, but this is going to motivate everyone. Come 2020, we're going to like come out swinging. And we come out with Joe Biden, which I do just want to tag on to you, Omar, is like, I don't want to talk like it's already over, but even the fact that it's this close, I think having 4 years to be like, oh shit, there's some stuff going on in the country that we didn't realize. There's a tone in the country that we didn't realize. And you come back 4 years later with Obama's vice president, that just feels so like blind to how much people are frustrated and how much people want change and how much people aren't being spoken to. And my fear is that what Omar just alluded to, there's also a country full of 18-year-olds that think that this is the way to win. And there's a lot of people that when you show them the way to win, they don't use better judgment or morals or any of that stuff. They use that lesson as, okay, well, then this is how I win. And Trump now has 8 years, which is like an entire young generation's entire young life, seeing that this is the way to win and that all this nice talk and civility and caring about others is all bullshit because that's what losers do.
Well, they haven't lost yet. Let's not give them the.
I was about to say, John, I agree with what you're saying on the motivational tip. But once again, the individual's responsibility for yourself and for society, you and Dee, you guys keep pushing that away. It's on you. And guess what? It's on your parents. You guys got kids now and whatnot. If your kids turn out to be terrible people, that's a reflection on you.
Yeah, I agree.
And so they're not going to. But I'm just saying, this is why you can remember. I can remember when I was a kid and we had there's 7 of us. So it was a gang of us. And I remember going places or coming back from college and people would be like, man, they would tell my parents, like, you know what, your son, he represented you guys well. He did well. I didn't necessarily understand that until more of my siblings and my friends started having children. And you see the danger of bad parenting with individuals. Like, I mean, with this Trump character, this guy literally had every single break that a person could have break his way in life. He was born rich. He inherited / stole all the money. He ends up cheating to become president. And all he does is complain.
Yeah.
That's just unreal to me, But other thing, Dee, I wanted to address what you said is things can change. And I don't want to be pessimistic and believe that things cannot change or that's how things work. That's how things work now. But I think back to the education thing, something that doesn't get taught or brought up enough is how many times the Constitution and the country has been changed. It can be changed. Yeah. There just has to be a groundswell. It's like how we talked about, all of us had talked about it back in June when everybody was on the streets. So millions of people took the streets for George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, all of them. And we were like, man, I wish the election was this week because people were motivated. But we live in a sports center society where people don't want to take the time to watch the game. They just want to watch the highlights. So now that fizzles down because we don't have the discipline to actually stay on brand. And then you run into a tight race that hopefully you can squeak out.
Yeah, I just want to clarify too what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying it's over, blah, blah, blah. But what I am saying is I don't think a lot of people plan for tonight to go the way that it's going at 7:40 p.m. on the West Coast. I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people thought. And I think a lot of people, once again, like we did in 2016, thought, yeah, but not this time. Yeah, got it. That happened once, but this time it won't happen. What I'm saying is, even if Joe Biden wins, this is a significant portion of the country that feels this way. And that's something that I think the worst thing we can do ever again is pretend like just doesn't exist, or pretends like, they're just stupid, they'll go away. Like, I'm worried about what happens to this group, because the same way that I'm saying these young people can look at this and say, okay, that's the way to be a winner. All of the parents of all these kids that are in these red states that voted Trump are going to be filled with the craziest messages about how Trump was right and how we got robbed. And there's something happening in the country that I just think that it's stupid to be like, Trump voters. You know what I mean? That's my point.
No, I hear you, Drama. And Omar, before you jumped on, I said that I think the coronavirus, in a weird, twisted way, is turning out to be a net positive in swing states, because he campaigned the last 30 days like, if Joe Biden's your president, you're never going to have a wedding again. You're never going to have a graduation again. Your kids are never going to school again. And your economies are going to be shut down. And he caused all of that, and he's winning because of it.
Just crazy. There's a real Stockholm syndrome going on. It's crazy. It's like when all the jobs, it's like when the 55 million jobs got lost and the stock market went up. We really, I'm with you, Barack O'Drama. We really have to stay there and recognize that America is sick in a lot of ways. And if we're gonna heal up, if we're actually gonna make some noise as a unit, it has to be addressed. Otherwise, everybody is going to have to roll for Dolo and just say, nah, man, it's me and my circle, my echo chamber, yada, yada.
Okay, let's kind of zoom out a little bit. Not zoom out Tim Apple, but let's zoom out in terms of kind of perspective, in terms of, look, we've all been to a lot of these states that are now leaning red that weren't even fathomable kind of a couple weeks ago. They're not all racist. We know that. What is triggering them to vote Trump in 2020? If you're a non-racist voter that is just middle class, you're not rich, that you don't want your deregulation in your taxes, you're not a crazy religious person that is like super deeply about very extreme values, what is going on in their head?
Fear. It works all the time. It's a classic bully package. He has scared so many people. This is where he has brilliance. He scared a lot of people who are from countries that were socialist ran into the ground by using keywords about communism, socialism, and scare tactics that have worked. Then when it comes to your standard Joe, he uses undertones of racism, even though you may say that these people, they're not necessarily all out racist, not burning a cross on their front yard or anything. But, the whole, hey, I will keep your suburbs safe. You don't have to worry about low income housing coming in. All that kind of stuff. I believe that a lot of people vote their fears as opposed to voting their hopes. Yeah. And when a candidate comes along that inspires people to vote for their hope, you see landslide level proportions of, victory, like Clinton, like Obama. When hope is on the ticket, it's a whole nother animal. This particular situation, you got two guys that are approaching octogenarian status, so it's difficult to hope at all,
Well, there's nothing better than fear as a marketing strategy. It's the best marketing strategy ever.
I also think we really, really discount celebrity. in this whole thing.
Clearly.
Like I think, like, look, like we dress like celebrities in this country. We listen to the music. We
You
vote.
mean overstate? Sorry.
No, I think in Trump's case,
No, Trump
Trump is a celebrity.
Oh,
we underestimate the power that has. The simple fact that, like, look, if you're so influenced by celebrity everywhere else, I think that there's a significant portion of people that just like the Trump thing, just Trump.
the brand.
Billionaire,
Yep.
America, business, Trump. Like, it's an ignorance to facts, because who even cares? Who wants to, like, read the article? It's just like Trump. And we want to Trump everyone. And it's celebrity. And it's the same thing that made him a great marketer and a great TV host. And I mean, he is really good at taking up screen time. I think another thing the Democrats did so poorly is still the last 4 years, all the left coverage has been just anti-Trump. It hasn't been what we're going to do and let's ignore this guy, or let's not talk about this guy. It's been complaining about Trump. So now this guy just dominates all of the media.
He takes all the air out of the room.
Yeah, and he's an entertainer. He's an entertainer first. Like we talked about
Big microphone.
What do you say?
He has a very big microphone. That helps as well. You know, because literally all of these news organizations are as complicit in his rise and subsequent potential re-election as anybody. Because if they weren't busy, if it didn't take them 3 years to call him a liar, that, you know, because he's good for their ratings and so on and so forth, more people might actually have a chance to learn the truth as opposed to going the echo chamber route that Dee was talking about.
Yeah. And I will say that's to me, the reason why Facebook has like turned into this like alt-right platform is partly because the audience got a lot older. But also I think they're better at clickbait. They play the game better. They're better at getting you to watch. They're better, whether it's QAnon or no matter what it is, they're better at playing this new internet clickbait game. And I feel like a lot of time Democrats are saying the facts and they're saying the knowledge and they're saying whatever, but we disagree. Everything else we do in this country revolves around celebrity, it feels like. Obviously, I'm being a little dramatic, but why wouldn't people go out and vote for a celebrity that's been dominating the airwaves for the last 4 years again?
And so I completely agree with everything you said. Those are all great points, but I do want to remind everyone this was the playbook that has kind of been told to us for the last couple of weeks. On election night, in-person voting is going to lean Republican.
100%.
Mail-in votes are going to lean Democratic. So a lot of the mail-in votes haven't been counted in Pennsylvania specifically and many other states. So this was the Republican playbook. Declare winner tonight and then stop the votes tomorrow.
Yeah. And I'm not, look, to your point too, I'm not saying by any means, I know this sounds like my concession speech and it's not. But what it is for me is it is like, oh shit, this is very, very real regardless. Like, I will be honest, I even thought this would be a little bit more of a smooth sailing. Like, I thought the conversations would be different. I'm looking at my Twitter. Twitter's already like, people are writing, I remember this feeling. Oh no, not again. You know, like, it's just like, I don't know.
Traumatized though. You have to recognize that. People are traumatized.
I agree. And I think it still could go the Biden way. I do want to, like, I don't know. I think
you're right. It's closer than anyone of us in the bubble could possibly anticipate.
I just think too, like, look, number one, I can't say enough how much I think, even if he wins, I said it, and I'm sorry, but I don't think coming back 4 years later that Joe Biden was the best choice. I think that you see that there is this feeling in the country, and to go with Obama's vice president, I just don't think it was the right choice. I also think that when you count, you guys kind of said it, like, it's easy for us to say, and I don't want to discount the racist like sentiment to the whole Trump thing. And more, to be honest, what I'm offended by is I think there's a lot of people that would vote for Trump and ignore the racist sentiment. And so to me, by nature, you are part of the problem.
You are racist. That's how it works.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, if you take into
Yo,
consideration,
you drama, you are a racist.
what I'm saying is, if you have religion, you have the celebrity element, you have whatever the other thing was, the military or the conservative, whatever the other thing that you mentioned was on, and like that alone is such a significant portion of this country and the people that actually do go out and vote. And I think that we discount that. And then of course, when you tie in the fear and to me, and I'm not the right person to speak on it, but when I see like the Latino for Trump thing, I read it as like everyone has this part of them that wants to say like, I'm the best and fuck everyone else. And I think Trump taps into that in people.
Eric, as a Latino, is shaking his head. Did you fucking vote for Trump?
Come on.
He was like, yeah, that's why I voted for Trump.
The fucking drama, bro. Shut the fuck up. I'm just listening to drama, bro. Shut up.
No, I saw you go like
I think Joe, I'm gonna go out. I'm going out. I think Joe is still pulling it out. I think that we got
Arizona's huge. We're Arizona, Biden's in the lead, and if Arizona can hold, I think you count mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and there's a clear pathway.
Yeah, and if he sneaks out North Carolina, then say good night, Gracie. But I think I don't know. Let's stay along the sentiment of what you guys are saying. We got a long ways to go in the country, and we as a country have to decide whether or not America as an idea is worth fighting for, because clearly we've become a nation of individuals, and that isn't necessarily, I'm a team guy myself. I come from a large family. It's always team based, and this can't continue at this rate. It's just not positive.
It's just fascinating to me because a lot of the policies that Biden ran on negatively affect the five of us,
and we all voted for him.
Voted for him.
Which is
like if Biden doubles the capital gains tax rate, that hurts my wallet.
Yeah. No, and that's
and I'm not voting against. I mean, I have a broader perspective than if my capital gains rate goes up. I mean, there's just like, that's what I don't get. Why is the middle class person voting for that?
Just so everybody listening knows, if Trump wins, we crush it. The 5 people on this thing just crush it. We do. Our taxes are lower. We don't have to deal with. I don't have to deal with racists on a daily, life.
Yeah,
because in daily life,
and why are we the ones championing?
Yeah,
for Biden. Why isn't the average person championing? Like, this is what I don't get about what's going on in the country.
I'm gonna tell you guys the truth, though. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
No, I said maybe last year, but like I'm an unemployed DJ during a pandemic. I need Biden's tax.
You need that stimulus.
Eric needs a stimulus.
Need that 1200 real quick.
Eric is running EDD scams and shopping at resellers.
No, I'm selling a lot of my shoes. Who wants them?
That's a serious problem, though, that I feel like from the perspective, there's a disconnect on one level that I don't think that gets spoken about enough. And that's if things continue this direction and the gap between the haves and the have-nots continue to extend like this, it's not going to be safe for anybody. You won't be able to afford enough security to walk around if milk is $20 a gallon. And the direction that things are going with the farmers getting boned, I know a bunch of truck drivers that have gone out of business. Like the broad scope of it is not a pretty picture. And just because they sit around and lie and say how great the economy was before COVID, that was great for the 5 of us on the chat because we had a job. But the rest of the country was there was a lot of people who were still hurt.
Yeah. And I think we're going to find out obviously, hopefully today, maybe tomorrow or the next couple of days, where people want to go. Because if the overwhelming majority of the country still want the current trajectory of the country, then that's what they're going to get. We have
and they're going to deserve it.
They're going to deserve it. And our lives will continue to be what they are. And unfortunately, I am always concerned. I'm a overly concerned person about everyone around me and how they are affected by any situation. And it's to a fault. And I am just afraid that the average person in this country will be so adversely affected that we're never going to be as great as we were. Because the great thing about America was like our parents came from India with nothing and had us, and we thrived. I don't know if that America will exist, which would suck. Because
my father literally is the son of sharecroppers.
That's crazy.
My father's grandfather was a slave. Like that is something remarkable. And yeah, it's getting farther and farther out of reach.
I got something.
Eric, I don't even know if Eric knows how to read.
No, I'm reading a question from the chat real quick. So someone in the chat, Ricky, said, we need this question answered. People aren't voting for Biden because they're afraid of Biden closing the country again, and that's why Latinos and others are voting for Trump. Why?
I mean, you tell me.
Radicalization. It's clearly the country, everything that has happened, first and foremost, you got to recognize that Trump is the king of projections. So every single thing that has happened while he was president. So all this stuff that he's trying to project about Biden is stuff that he's done. And if you don't shut it down, just like all of us know people who either have or their parents have or their cousins have died from coronavirus, if we don't have the discipline for people to wear masks, there are going to be a lot more people dead. And that is something that you just can't overstate. I can remember, I'm old enough to remember when one American dying in Desert Storm was a big deal. Like they would announce that on the news. That was the biggest news in the world. A Marine died. It was like, what? It was the biggest thing in the world. 235,000 Americans dead from something that's controllable?
And you think about 9/11 was sub 4,000 dead
and
on U.S. soil.
Destroyed the Middle East because of it. We literally killed millions of people behind that.
Yeah, we spent trillions of dollars
still
because of fear of what could happen here. And
just to swing our nuts. Sorry, I'm co-signing with you. Also, just to show that we were the big dog.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I mean,
meanwhile, you're not good for 1,200. You're not even Deluxe ain't good for his 1,200 stimulus.
Yeah, that's actually the funny thing. The Republicans have controlled the presidency and the Senate, and there's been no second stimulus, and all these people are voting for him. This is just mind-boggling.
Lindsey Graham, maybe the most spineless individual in all of America, just got reelected.
Yep.
It's unreal. Anyways, people had enough of me. I'll catch you fools later. Hopefully I'll see you on the flip side that's a lot bluer.
We'll keep going. Don't worry. Don't give up hope.
I'm not giving up hope. I'm with you, Anand. I roll with you. Yeah, the kid is my guy right there.
You should have rolled me to Drake in 2010.
Listen. Now Drake would walk by me, you wouldn't even know who I was.
Well, I actually want to tell that story. I want to tell that story real quick.
I want to tell it too. So we were at what used to be what's next to the Fountain Blue? What is it? What's the hotel called?
Eden Rock?
Eden Rock. We were outside the Eden Rock, and
so we were
inside. Yeah.
So the backup of the story was we were at Super Bowl Miami. This is 12 years ago, 10 years ago.
It was the cold.
Let me lay the foundation. The backup of the story was I just broke into television. I had been in the movies, and I just broke into television on CBS. I was on CSI Miami, and I called the network and asked if I could get a ticket or two to the Super Bowl, at which point they clutched up and said I could get a ticket. I called you two dudes We stayed in the super off-brand hotel next to which
No money back then, guys. No money.
the Nomo house.
Yeah.
And we had the cracks and roaches in the room, but we were good at all the stuff. So this was the origin story.
Can I give can I give one more background? How we even got there? My boy Ryan Braun was the face of Air Trans.
Yes.
And he has unlimited first class flights every month, and he gave me and Dee 2 first class flights to get to Miami. So we couldn't even afford our flights. We were just like, oh, we got free flights. We'll figure out the Roach Hotel later.
We get the Roach Hotel, and Dee found the hotel. I remember when you hit me.
Yeah. And so we get to Miami. I think we have 1, maybe 2 tickets. There's 3 of us.
We have 2 tickets.
We have 2 tickets.
They gave us 2 tickets. And we were like, no, we can figure it out.
We can figure it out. So we're going to all the parties, and then finally we're outside either Eden Rock or Fountain Blue or one of those hotels.
We're outside Eden Rock.
Eden Rock. Drake walks up. Anand nuts his pants.
This is before Drake was Drake. This is
when it was you the best, the best I ever had. That's all I had out. And he was like 15 yards out, and we saw him.
And Anand's like, oh my God. And Drake
on and I said, watch this. I said, watch this. I'm about to crack Drake's head. Watch this.
And Drake just fans out on O. And Anand's like, oh my, let me shake your hand. Drake, shake your hand. You're talking Anand's what, 25 years old at that point?
20, yeah.
Right? 2010.
Yeah.
2010.
Maybe I should have been an A&R. If I found Drake, I would be.
You didn't even need a large sample size. You knew he was hot. You knew. Anyways, that's the story now. Drake doesn't know who I am. Cool though. I do better now than I did then.
So here's the good news: California, Oregon, Washington all just went to Biden. Big surprise.
Woo!
Biden's still holding Arizona.
If Biden wins Arizona, I'm going to Scottsdale tomorrow.
Scottsdale's hot.
Bottle blonde. Here I come.
Just like 2016, this just confirms that there's such a small amount of America that I actually need to patronize and spend my time and money in. It's a tiny fraction. The rest, I'm telling you, man, we don't get this 270. You'll catch the kid here to work. Besides that, catch me on the international tip.
You know what's interesting is, Omar, you told me this probably 3 or 4 years ago when we were talking about traveling internationally, and you're like, you know what? I want to hit more of the U.S. I want to hit more of the States. It sounds like that's flipped.
It has flipped. But that was pre MAGA.
Yeah,
I told you that in 2015 or 2014 when we first started filming Ballers in Florida, and I would do road trips and drive around in Florida in that southeast area and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then MAGA hit, and the bros were just too far. And by the way, MAGA loves Ballers. Loves it hurt MAGA's feelings so bad when Dwayne came out against Trump, against the leader. That was the day America found out Dwayne is actually black.
Oh my God, that was devastating.
It was a heartbreak.
What's also interesting, a fun story from that Super Bowl that it'd be really fun to share. So we're in the Super Bowl, but there's always another door, like Steve Rubell used to say at Studio 54. There's always a better party. There's always a better door. There's a better VIP. There is a tailgate at the Super Bowl that is called the Commissioner's Tailgate. And put it like this, inside the Commissioner Tailgate, which is the most exclusive crowd, there's called the Inner Circle, which is even more exclusive, which is literally the richest people on earth. We only have, I think, one pass.
Two passes.
We had 2 passes.
I was the odd man out all weekend.
Anand didn't have the pass. And
I called you. You were my first call. You were my first call when I got
hold on. Let's actually talk about when you got your tickets. We were in whatever whack ass hotel we're at. You're like, yo, I think I got Justin Bieber's tickets.
Nah, that was Dallas.
That was a different
That was Dallas because they actually gave me Bieber's ticket. Like Bieber didn't show up. Shout out to Bieber.
Yeah.
Remember we sat in front of Michael Bay? We sat in front of all horrific people.
Yeah. We had a big
fine
big Dallas Super Bowl.
This
So
is rich talk.
we get to the
It was all on the sleeve.
yeah, we get there on the tailgate, and because he's on CSI Miami, starts
just
getting
hit.
swarmed.
Pandemonium.
So I go to the security guard. The security guard goes, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Yo, we got to get in the tent right now." And he's like, "Who are you with?" I'm like, "These two. We got to go. We got to go."
And they rushed us in.
They rushed us in. Chris Rock was with us.
No, it was Chris Rock and David Spade in front of us. They're like, "We got to get him in," and they were
Get
like,
all in. Let's go. Let's
"Who
go.
doesn't have a pass?" And they were like, "Let's go. Let's go." It's not. It's a safety concern.
They didn't even look at the passes. You remember I gave you two the passes.
Yeah.
Because we went and I was like, here, you take the pass.
Yeah.
Come on. And then in the full circle of it all, do you remember that day, Anand, right there at that party? Because all of our heads were cracked because that party is nuts.
Oh, nuts.
We met Trent Lott.
Of course.
Yeah.
That was like the first major politician I think that I had met.
And then we saw him subsequent years after that, where he would be like, "Oh, I know you guys. I know you colored folks."
Y'all all right in my book.
You guys are pretty funny.
You guys, y'all good for entertaining me, boy. You bring the tattoos or no? All right, y'all. I gotta wake up at 5:30 to go do some scenes.
All right. Shout
out to Unicorn. I see your ads everywhere.
You guys are Unicorn the GOAT. Wow.
Your ads are on all football, all Sunday.
We got like Joe Biden's budget when it comes to Unicorn ads.
And Netflix.
I told the president of the network, he called to wish me a happy birthday. And I told him, I said, "Hey, man, whoever it is that got the show on Netflix deserves a raise, because I have had so many people, and I'm not even out and about like that, but I have had so many people. Wow, Joe Biden about to sneak out Nebraska?
No way.
No way.
What?
Oh, he's up.
He's up.
What?
Wow.
So many
the Cornhuskers.
Okay, might need a little Big Ten in my life. But I've had so many people come up to me since the show. The show just hit Netflix on October 1st.
Netflix is shoving it down my throat. I was like, I've seen season 1.
Netflix is the new network TV. This is what this made me realize.
Yeah.
Everybody watches Netflix, especially now that they've worn out, their queue.
Yeah. There's not too much new content. So they got Unicorn and they're just shoving it down your throat.
I mean, it's real. Are we drinking tonight? Are you guys drinking?
Yeah, I'm a quarter bottle of Casamigos in.
All right, let's do a toast before I go.
Yeah.
What you got? Oh, don't even drink.
I don't even. That's why I'm saying it's a big deal. I'm a drink. I don't even drink like that. Let me see. I got my Eric Deluxe Special Edition 42 that I never
had that.
Oh, let's get that.
That's vintage.
I don't hardly ever drink. It's of course I got it.
I drank that the first day he gave it to me.
Let's see the logo.
The first day he gave it to you.
It was over.
Damn. Now
He's about to take off the plastic.
Hold on. I got two. Check that one out. That one's cool.
Oh wow.
Dollars.
That one. The Dodgers sent me a World Series edition of Don Julio, which was
Which is really good. By the way.
My team wins the World Series and it doesn't cost me $1 this time. Every year I go and I watch them lose it, I got to pay tens of thousands of dollars. Where's your bottle? I got your bottle because I didn't drink. Oh, that's why. That is the top shelf.
Oh,
top shelf. I mean, it's kind of dusty. I can't front. It's been sitting on the top shelf since you gave it to me back when you were employed.
Can we get a GoFundMe for Eric Deluxe?
Wow, that's like New Year's 2018, maybe.
That's what it says. 2019.
2019.
Is this it? Is this the one we're opening, or what is it?
Yeah, let's do that.
Why not?
You can't get a bottle of 1942 anywhere in this
By
city.
the way, that's rare. The only way.
Oh, so I'm not gonna open it. So it's good I didn't drink it. I'll drink something I already have open.
Open that Dodgers one.
Yeah, drink that 70. 70 is really good too.
What is 70?
The Dodgers give you.
Okay.
Yeah, 70 is good.
All right.
Eric, Is that piece of art just a green sheet of paper something important? Because it looks stupid.
It's for his live stream.
So when I'm on my live Twitch, you know what a green screen is, or are you an idiot?
No, I don't know. I'm
take this abuse from D.
whoa,
Don't
whoa,
take
whoa.
this abuse from him.
I thought green screens are big. You have one the size of your head.
So you knew if you had any type of taste and knew anything about art, I put a green screen in an art frame, and I put like the Mona Lisa, maybe I just flip the art, and that's the vibe. And everybody compliments it, but an idiot like you.
Oh my God.
So thank you.
Fighting words.
Latinos for Trump.
Little pimp. Anybody watching on the live stream here for St. Anna, this is the statue head I carried around all over Italy.
Yo, Omar.
Yo, I
have
could
to
put
make
that
a
in my
correction.
green screen.
Omar.
On your green screen.
Omar. It was Bill Frist.
Bill
That's
Frist.
who-
That's a lot. Bill Frist. Bill Frist.
I was Googling. I was like, damn, it wasn't Trent Lott. I know it was someone else.
Bill Frist. That's exactly it. And he actually was really nice to us.
He was a heart and lung transplant surgeon that became the Senate Majority Leader in the Republican Party from 2003 to 2007.
Wow.
He was very nice to us.
He was really, really nice to us.
And he recognizes the 4 years later.
Yeah.
He goes, I remember you minorities in the
Yeah,
commission.
that's what I'm
tailgate."
saying.
He was from Tennessee, right?
Yep.
Yep. So here's an update. Pennsylvania is still leaning Trump, 42%.
But that's no mail-in
They
vote.
haven't counted it. Philadelphia said they're not counting their mail-ins till the morning.
Yeah. So Pennsylvania is still up in the air. Georgia still leaning Trump. Florida is
Georgia's
over.
Trump. Florida's over. It's honestly Pennsylvania mail-in votes. Arizona needs to go Biden.
Yeah.
We need Arizona.
Yeah. Arizona going Biden changes the whole thing.
How great does it feel to be in the state you can count on getting it right?
What is so if Arizona goes Biden, then what does that tell us?
So basically, Biden needs to win.
Move to Arizona.
Biden needs to win Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan. If he wins those three, I think the pathway's there. Pennsylvania, I think he can still win without. So Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. If he wins three of the four, I think he's in.
Interesting.
I mean, your man literally stopped up. He constipated the U.S. Postal Service, and he might get away with it. This is unbelievable, dude.
It's crazy.
Ruling by minority.
Yeah. You know, your man Tom Steyer actually put up something that I found super profound. I don't know if you guys saw it because I retweeted it, which was Republicans have not won the popular vote in the last
6 or 7
elections.
Yeah.
And they've been the ruling party for a long time.
That's crazy.
They're better tacticians.
Well, the electoral
I
college
see you on there. Ricky's he's right. He's a Big O said 5 minutes ago he was leaving. Now he's drinking on the live stream.
That's how these things go. Next thing you're dropping racial slurs.
That's the last thing I need to do is to hit the unemployment lines with Deluxe.
If Biden wins, Eric's never working again.
No, stop it. Don't tell those lies. Oh, why are you opening up the clubs tomorrow? That's how we get the votes. All right, here I go. I'm ready now.
I'm trying to show you how my green screen works. You'll see.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna do something with your green screen.
Yeah, bitch.
Whoa! Whoa!
Like words. You better watch out. Beverly Hills has a SWAT team out. They're gonna be on the
What's going on in, speaking of that, Omar, is there any National Guard present? Do we know what's going on in the actual LA streets?
I ain't been in them streets. I purposely had everything I need, and I just came straight from work to home. I didn't see anything on the way from Hollywood to the east side, but I've been watching it on the news all day, and they made it very clear that they were going to have a very strong SWAT and police presence.
Got it. Yeah, I saw. I think it was St. Louis has like National Guard. Obviously everything's boarded up here, but I'm curious what's going on out there.
Shout out to Drama being out of Akron, Ohio. But the chat part is cool. This is my first time on Twitch. All right, y'all. I got to actually learn my lines. I got to be up in like 5 hours.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're still getting this W, O.
Good. This is that dub. This is for my boy Anand right there.
Yeah, this is like the Russell Wilson. We're down a touchdown in the fourth quarter. And guess what we do? We believe.
How about Russell Wilson, the MVP on that pick? I like that, don't you?
Cheers, O. Thanks for coming on.
Love you, bro. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Man, for real, because I think it is going to go down before the week is out.
Yo, when I get a job again, I'll see you in Vegas again.
You're welcome to come over the house. Just show me a PCR test that was negative. Julio, whatever you need. Or we can just sit outside. That's how I do it.
I'm an outside guy.
I got you all day. All right, now.